A fractured honmoon. A K-pop retrospective. I'm not embarrassed about liking K-pop anymore. I've grown past this and, for the most part, I'm comfortable letting those around me know I did have a huge K-pop phase when it comes up, and I have to thank KPop Demon Hunters for finally getting me to accept this after 7 years. For those unfamiliar with the movie, KPop Demon Hunters is about the superstar K-pop girl group HUNTR/X, consisting of Rumi, Arden Cho, Teen Wolf, Mira, Mei Hong, Debut, and Zoe, Jai Young Yu, Until Dawn. While they dominate K-pop charts, HUNTR/X also protect the mortal realm from Guima, Lee Byung-hun, Squid Game, and his demons by sealing the honmoon, a magical barrier that separates the two worlds. The film came out on Netflix in June of this year. When I first saw the title, I thought it was going to be a cash grab attempt from Netflix to capitalize on K-pop's astronomical rise in global popularity. I also thought, embarrassingly and perhaps too quickly, that it sounded like a stupid name. How wrong I was. By the end of the first song, How It's Done, I was hooked. By the end of the movie, I was standing HUNTR/X and Seja Boys like I was 13 again. This is the point where I get into why I'm writing about my embarrassment of this era of my life. As I said before, I had a huge K-pop phase. So huge that there were fanfics, my gateway to Wattpad and archive of our own. Dance covers, I still remember the choreography for Red Velvet's Red Flavor. And poor attempts at fan art involved. Thank God those have been lost to time. This started when a friend introduced me to BTS in 2016. She showed me the music video for their song Blood, Sweat and Tears, which had come out a few weeks prior. It's safe to say that, as a 7th grader, my life was changed. From there, I spiraled into a 4-year journey with K-pop, during which 3rd-gen artists reigned supreme and 4th-gen groups began to either pop up through competitions or were still mere rumors. I moved from BTS to Red Velvet, then NCT, and all of its subunits, while digging deeper into the K-indie scene with artists like Dean and Heize. It's hard to recall everything from this era, but KPop Demon Hunters caused all of my excitement surrounding K-pop to resurface. Since watching the movie, I've mostly looked back on this era of my life fondly, in the same way you look back at childhood photos of yourself. Shortly after seeing KPop Demon Hunters for the first time, I traveled to California, where I met up with my middle school best friend, whose friendship with me was largely propelled by our shared love of K-pop, and we shouted the lyrics to Golden and Your Idol in her car like we were in middle school again. I even got to see my friend's younger cousin, an avid Stray Kids fan, or Stay, watch it for the first time, and it's safe to say that our screaming shattered a few eardrums in the room. K-pop has created an incredible community for me and millions of fans worldwide. Bands like BTS and Blackpink are household names, thrusting Korean culture into the global spotlight. Kimchi, a food that some older Korean Americans have been ridiculed for bringing in their school lunches, is now an item at Kroger, while TV shows like Squid Game and its actors are internationally recognized. 8-year-old me would have loved to be a HUNTR/X member for Halloween instead of only having Mulan or Cho Chang as my popular Asian culture costume options. Now this is a reality. The world is embracing Korean culture more by the day, and I am overjoyed that this representation is becoming more prominent in mainstream media. Yet as I eagerly unpacked my old K-pop obsession this summer, other memories began to pop up. K-pop was the first digital community I truly immersed myself in, and I became active in online discussion forums and Tumblr, fervently liking and reposting Instagram posts teasing album releases from my ultimate groups, the K-pop groups you like more than any other, as well as buying merchandise with the pocket money my parents gave me. I watched my favorite groups livestream their casual conversations on V-Live, now Weverse, at odd hours of the night to adjust for the time difference between the US and South Korea. I anxiously counted down the days until albums like NCT 2018's Empathy and collaboration songs like ZICO and IU's Soulmate dropped. I frequently commented on how cool, pretty, or talented my biases were, both in-person conversations with other fans or online. There are other fan behaviors prevalent among K-pop fans that I never really participated in, but at one point probably considered, like camping out ahead of concerts, or buying multiple copies of the same album for the chance to collect your bias. Preferred K-pop member, photocard. Going a step further, fans can pay for idol interactions through platforms like Bubble, an app where paying fans can have personalized chats with their favorite K-pop star from certain companies. And all of this is considered mild in comparison to sasaengs, who are fans that stalk and harass their favorite K-pop idols, often leading to lawsuits filed by the companies that manage these artists. To be fair, this fan behavior isn't isolated to K-pop alone. Think about the dedicated Swifties buying all 19 vinyl variants of the Tortured Poets Department, or throngs of fans swarming Doechii in Paris. Artists like Beyonce are no strangers to stalkers either. Or, more recently, in the digital culture sphere, YouTubers Dan and Phil finally confirmed their romantic relationship after almost 2 decades of speculation and fans invading their privacy to get the information. These obsessive and oftentimes parasocial behaviors exist in virtually any fanbase centered around real people. Still, there is something particularly insidious about how the K-pop industry encourages this parasocial behavior, intentionally or not. I am definitely not the first, nor will I be the last, to address this. Yet I fell right into this parasocial mindset at 13 years old, and today I am mortified by it. Looking back at that time of my life still makes me embarrassed, not because I liked K-pop, but rather because of the things I did as a K-pop fan. It became my entire personality in 8th grade, and my love for it was egged on further by the endless opportunities K-pop companies threw my way to interact with these stars. Whether it was through Instagram posts, teasing a new magazine cover spread, or skits showing off K-pop idols' romantic charms, I only fell deeper. I got into childish arguments over whether 2 idols were actually dating. I wrote Wattpad and Tumblr fanfics about my favorite groups. I reposted this image of a rose when former SHINee member Jonghyun died by suicide in 2017. Actively mourning his death like I had lost a close friend. The lines between my favorite idols and myself became blurred, almost fracturing my sense of reality at the mere age of 13. I was never a sasaeng because, even then, I was rational enough not to go that far, but that didn't mean I was completely safe from falling deeper into this parasocial side of K-pop. Years after this phase passed, I started to ask myself questions about everything I had done related to K-pop. What was I doing dedicating my life outside of school to keeping up with these K-pop idols, especially if they would never know who I was? What point was there in arguing with random anonymous users online about dating rumors? Why was I so committed to memorizing birthdays that would eventually have no significance to me? Writing this out is honestly humiliating, and I have no good answer to these questions beyond this. I was in middle school. Perhaps that is the best answer. There are undoubtedly still adults who engage in this fan culture, and I'm not here to judge them. I'm glad that K-pop can be a space for them to let out their inner fan. The only exception is anyone actively stalking or harassing idols, like the University of Michigan student in 2023, who allegedly went to Student Legal Services for legal assistance in a K-pop idol harassment case filed against her. Even though I've never even come close to this level of intense parasocial fan behavior, the near-obsessive attitude I had over K-pop, sacrificing sleep to watch live streams, spending hundreds of dollars on merch, constantly following K-pop groups' online presence, isn't for me anymore. At the age of 21, I don't engage in these fandoms nearly as much as I used to. After watching KPop Demon Hunters, however, I did experience a personal renaissance that brought back more nostalgia than awkwardness or shame. I now occasionally revisit my old 16-hour K-pop playlist. I've caught up with New Jeans and KTSEYE, and I like the new boy group Cordis Music. I've shallowly re-engaged with online discourse over K-pop news. And I rebranded my old Tumblr account to follow cool fanart pages of fictional characters instead of fansites that posted photos of my alts. Since losing interest in K-pop in 2021, I've undoubtedly set new boundaries in how I choose to interact with it, whether by not reading fanfics of real people or not keeping up with K-pop idols beyond their music. Much of this has stemmed from my embarrassment over how I used to interact with these spaces. But I've also come to appreciate that discomfort from this. KPop Demon Hunters helped me return to K-pop on my own terms, and guided by both my embarrassment and my simultaneous love for this genre, I was able to restore my own honmoon.